coming in at number 5 for them is the Orlando Magic. Now, when you look at Orlando, they do have some young pieces. You got Paolo Banchero, who is their first overall pick. Franz Wagner, who they got in the lottery, who's turned out very well for them. And Jalen Suggs, who was also a top pick for them. They have a lot of, Swiss Army knives. I mean, I didn't even mention Anthony Black, Jonathan Isaac. They have a very intriguing core. A lot of defensive-minded guys. They made a huge splash this year, trading for Desmond Bane. So I think a lot of people are going to have eyes on Orlando, and deservedly so. Like, when they were healthy, they were one of the best teams in the East last year, but that was really early on in the season. Kind of wild that both Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner suffered the same injury in a oblique tear. But Orlando's going to be good if they can stay healthy. But they do come in at number 5 with his best young cores in the 25-26 season. Coming in at number 4, we have the Detroit Pistons. Now, me being a little biased here, you guys, because the rest of this list, I feel like there's a team in here that this shouldn't be in here, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But the Pistons come in at number 4. Now, when you look at the Detroit Pistons core, they have several guys under the age of 25. K just turned 24 this week. You have Asar Thompson, Jalen Duren. You have guys like Marcus Sasser. You have a lot of young guys on this team. Jaden Ivey. I mean, even Bleacher Report kind of goes into it. Cade, Asar, Ivey, Duren, Holland, Isaiah Stewart. I didn't even mention, because we just have so many young guys. It's kind of hard to just think of them all off the top of your head. But Pistons do come in at number 4 here. I think we all know how young this team is, how much young guys we have, and that's because, from, the 2020 season, all the way up to the 24 draft, or 24 draft, because we didn't have a first-round draft pick this year. We were drafting in the top 5. We were making trades during the Troy Weaver era to acquire more talent. So the Pistons have a lot of young talent because they were going through the rebuild. Now it's time to decide what young pieces are here to stay and what young pieces could be possibly dangled in future trades, which we'll get into that in a little bit with the Lauri Markkanen and stuff. But Pistons do come in at number 4. I honestly think that they should be a little bit higher on this list, but maybe that's just my Piston fandom, my bias leaking out. Number 3 on this list, we have the San Antonio Spurs. Now, San Antonio, obviously, having Victor Wembanyama is going to get you probably top 3 in a lot of lists, just because of the talent that he is and the talent that he does have. Looks like he's fully healthy. He did suffer that thrombosis, that blood clot, but looks like he's going to be good to go this season, which is so good to hear. Pistons fans know that firsthand with Asar Thompson having a similar thrombosis, a similar blood clot situation. They can be really scary. Not a whole lot of updates, but sounds like he's going to be 100% healthy, which is good for not only the NBA but the league, because I think Vic is just an incredible talent. If you guys haven't watched him or caught Spurs games, definitely encourage you to do so. He's a really fun basketball player. But they do have some young pieces on their team this year. They were very fortunate to get the second overall pick and get a Dylan Harper. They have Stephon Castle. They have De'Aaron Fox, who isn't really a young core player, but they have a lot of point guards, so it'll be interesting to see what they kind of do long term with all those guards. But, Wembanyama, Castle, Dylan Harper, Devin Vassell, I don't really think they should be at 3, but I think if you're just a national guy, you're not really a Detroit Pistons fan, you probably would have the Spurs in a top 3 just because of Vic and Dylan Harper. But hey, maybe that's just my Piston, fandom leaking out a little bit as I'm doing this podcast with you guys right now. But Spurs do come in at number 3. They do have some young guys, but they're mostly a pretty veteran-heavy team. Number 2, the Houston Rockets. And I kind of mentioned this at the top of the segment. I don't really think Houston is in the same conversation as young cores. Do they have young players on their team? Yes. Tari Eason, Sengun, Amen Thompson, Reed Shepard. They have young guys, but they also have Kevin Durant. They also have Steven Adams. They signed Dorian Finney-Smith. Like, out of all the young cores on this team, they're the oldest. When you look at average age, they have the oldest team out of this top five that Bleacher Report is mentioning. I just think, and this is just me, I think Houston is out of the, oh, they have a bright future. They have a young core. They won 50 games last year. Obviously, the news to Fred VanVleet is devastating. I think that just brings more opportunities for Amen Thompson to run the show and more opportunities for Reed Shepherd to possibly, get some playing time because he was only getting G League reps last year because Houston was that damn deep. But I don't really think Houston deserves to be in this, oh, they're a young, fun team. They're a young core. Like, I just don't see it. I get they have, young pieces that are in their starting lineup or off their bench that contribute, but I just don't really think they deserve to be in a list like this. I probably would have put Charlotte in a list like this. I would have put maybe even, Washington for that matter. And not as high as 2, but at least, being in a top 5 young cores going into the season. But obviously, Houston does come in at number 2. And if you guys could probably guess number 1, it's the Oklahoma City Thunder. No surprise there. They just won the NBA championship, and they're one of the youngest teams in the NBA still, which is just wild to think about. I think they have one guy on their roster that is 30 years old. It's just crazy. I mean, you have J-Dub, Jalen Williams. You have Chad Holmgren. SGA is not even 30 yet. I think he's only 27, which is just wild to think about. And they mentioned Cason Wallace. I mean, you just kind of look at their draft picks. They have so many young guys. Like Nikola Topic, who was a draft pick that they had, hasn't even played yet, and he's 20, 21 years old. Like, OKC has such a bright future. No surprise that they're coming in at 1. They're an actual young team that has young talent. Versus like the Rockets, where they have a bunch of 30-year-olds on their roster. OKC has one 30-year-old on their roster. My only thing with this list is, like, I think the Pistons should at least be in the top 3 conversation. I don't think Houston should be in this list whatsoever. I think there are other young teams that are in a rebuild phase that you could include. Like I mentioned, Charlotte. There's Washington. I mean, even Utah, even though they haven't won a whole lot of games, Utah has collected a lot of young talent on that roster. Now it's just, can they actually find pieces that they want to build around and find pieces that they feel they're going to be there more than their rookie contract. Like I really like Ace Bailey. Walker Kessler's an interesting piece. Big Keontae George fan over here. I was really high on Keontae George, but that's just my problem with this list. Like, I don't think Houston deserves to be on it. But hey, man, that's just me. Maybe I'm a hater.